because we are back in Puerto Morelos, the place that we're now calling home. It's kind of a weird thing. We've never really had a home, like a home in Mexico.
Yeah, we're actually about to sign a year lease here, so we're super excited for that.
And no, that doesn't mean we're going to be stopping our travels whatsoever, but we really kind of did need a home base, and Puerto Morelos feels like home. So we're putting down some roots here a little bit.
We'll see how we'll see how the summers are. Hot and humid. Kind of nervous for it, but we have air conditioning.
Our rental has AC. That was like priority numero uno.
So what are we doing today?
Today we're getting settled back down. Well, settled in a little bit. We're doing some errands. This is the first day that you're feeling better after lots of hospital visits.
Yeah, I've been having lots of health issues, tons of tests, tons of doctor's visits, and I'm finally feeling a little bit better today.
We'll be going into more detail in another video.
Probably the next video, so you have that to look forward to. Right now, we're at our favorite produce market, so let's go get some produce, because that's all I can eat right now. Fruits and vegetables and water. Mine. You're supposed to fill it. Alright, so it was 67 pesos and we got half a papaya, a couple of mangoes, some potatoes and broccoli, and then one other like zucchini looking thing.
Cucumber?
A cucumber. Rope tope.
So in Puerto Morelos, there's a Colonia side and there's the beach side, the port side. But what we didn't tell you is that there's this one neighborhood that's kind of like an in-between half neighborhood called Pescadores.
I didn't know about it for the longest time.
I didn't either.
I had no idea it was here.
This is the neighborhood we're staying in temporarily until we move into our long-term place. I'm glad it's only temporary because we're having so many issues with this place. We're headed to breakfast right now.
What time is it?
Well,
yeah, we eat breakfast
my shadow says it's about
12:40 p.m.
There you go. Well, I'm actually doing this intermittent fasting thing, so this is kind of right on schedule for me. I only eat between 12 and 8 p.m., or at least I try to, and it seems to be vibing really well with my body, so...
We're on our way to try this brand new place.
Brand new to us. I don't think it's brand new.
Correct. Brand new to us.
So we're at this place called the Green Deli, and this place is super awesome. They have a little store where you can buy bar, shampoo and conditioner, plastic-free things, stuff that's really good for the environment.
You're loving that now because you just started doing that.
I'm really kind of obsessing over like using less plastic in my life, but they have amazing food as well. Smoothies, smoothie bowls, gluten-free options, vegan options, vegetarian options. I got these chaya sopes, which like this part here, the bottom is made with like chaya in it.
That's super cool. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I'm so excited to try this. And Jordan got the same thing.
Yeah, I got the sopes too, but I've been on a really limited diet lately. I've been eating just fruits and vegetables, so I'm only going to have a little bit of this and see how my body reacts, and then hopefully eat the rest later.
Gracias. Oh, that's good. Chaya in anything. How can you go wrong?
I love chaya.
And now it is off to laundry.
We're headed to a lavanderia to pick up our clothes right now, and if you're not familiar with them, it's a place where you can take your clothes or your blankets or whatever, and they'll wash them, dry them, and fold them nicely, all for a reasonable price. We're going to the lavanderia right here with the kitty cat.
That's why we picked it, actually.
Buen día, ¿cómo estás? Bien, gracias. Buen día. Sí.
Gracias. Hasta luego. So in this lavanderia, they have a propina, like a tip bucket, I don't think I've ever really seen that in any lavanderia, but I'm curious if that's common. Should you tip them, or is that you're already paying for the service?
Yeah, I doubt it's common because I've never seen that before as well.
Like maybe one other time, but anyway, it costs 105 pesos for 2 towels, a bunch of little dish rags, and a king-size blanket.
Most of it was this cost because they have special prices for like comforters, and they consider this a comforter even though it's just a blanket.
I mean, it's a king-size blanket, so I understand. So we decided to go back to the house and get Laska because she has a lot of energy, and we are going to the beach to report on the Sargazo situation because a lot of people are asking, and honestly we haven't been to the Puerto Morelos beach in
A little while.
2 months maybe because of all our travel. Okay, we did. Nope. Hey Jordan.
What?
There's been a travesty in
that?
Puerto Morelos. An absolute travesty. Come with me, please. We've never been to El Centro of El Centro in Puerto Morelos.
How ridiculous.
El Centro of El Centro!
I'm afraid the seaweed situation is not looking good here.
It's definitely gotten worse. So now instead of the nice turquoisey blue tones that we saw before, it's colors of brown with patches of blue.
I didn't realize how long it had been since we've been to the beach last. And, dang it, I'm pretty disappointed about this.
I'm sad we wasted the beautiful water earlier this year, and now there's more seaweed, but as we go farther down on the beach it becomes a little bit less and less, so maybe you just pick the right spot on the beach and you're better.
Apparently this is the season for seaweed, and I've heard that it typically lasts for a month, maybe 2, but in the past year or 2 they've been having more problems with it than usual.
This is also the first time we've ever tried taking Laska to the beach. I didn't see a sign near the dock where we started walking, but we were just kicked off the beach by a lifeguard.
Hola. ¿Qué?
Está permitido los caninos transitación y estancia en el área de la playa.
Área?
Nada.
Nada.
Por acá pueden salir, sí.
Okay.
¿Dónde podemos salir?
Sí, de este lado, caballero.
Gracias.
I mentioned this in a video a long time ago, but we're gonna bring it up again because we were just on the beach and a number of people were like, oh my gosh, your poor husky, like wow, she must hate being in the hot, she's a snow dog. And I'm guilty of having those preconceived notions as well. I thought it was basically torture to have a husky or any dog with a long coat in hot water, but actually
In hot water?
what the hell am I saying? That's torture, yes. Having them in hot weather. But as it turns out, huskies have an undercoat which makes them insulated, more well adapted for hot weather, and in fact, Laska will beg to go outside when it's super sunny, and then what does she do? She walks a couple feet and then plops down in the sun, and then stay there in the sun, laying in the sun for hours, and she only comes back in when she wants to.
Por aquí.
Day now, and we were going to end the video yesterday, but we got so many great questions and comments from you guys when we posted on Facebook asking if you had any questions for us, stuff you wanted to see in this video. We figured we had to do that today.
We are back at one of our favorite breakfast restaurants, Lola y Moya, here in Puerto Morelos. And here I got a ginger tea because it was highly recommended that I have ginger specifically in the form of a tea, and you got a latte, and you are going to be wired after that because you haven't been drinking coffee with me.
I decided solidarity, we were going to go no coffee together, and it has sucked epically.
You've been so tired.
I've been just, I've slept like 18 hours every night. It's weird, so here we go. So the first question we're going to be answering is probably the most commonly asked question on our channel. Well, that's a tie between where's Alaska and when are you coming to Mexico City? So when are we coming to Mexico City?
In June.
Thank you to everyone who told us which neighborhood we should book in, and all of that is finalized. We have flights there, and it is before or after our trip to our second Spanish-speaking country that we're not telling you about yet.
It's technically before and after because we're flying into Mexico City before going there.
And then coming back.
And Tracy asked if Mexico has a distinct wet and dry season, and this is just something we can't answer. It varies so much throughout Mexico, even throughout states. When we were living in Jalisco, for example, Guadalajara had a rainy season in the summer. You go 1 hour away to when we were living in Ajijic, and they had a rainy season in the winter. So it's going to vary from place to place.
Tracy also asks, how often does your water or electricity go out? Do you find some areas worse than others for water and electricity outages? It definitely does vary from city to city. Here in Puerto Morelos, it's happened quite a few times. One happened during our live video for our patrons, and that sucked. Recently it happened. We later found out it was out for 2 hours. We found out it was because of a really bad brush fire outside of Merida, which is super far away, but it apparently affected like the whole region. So, and that was just the whole town, everywhere. Nowhere had power at all. Internet though?
At the last place we were living in Puerto Morelos, our internet would go out for a little bit almost every single evening. But as for like power outages, like living in Guadalajara, it would go out in the stormy season occasionally, but there doesn't seem to be redundancy in the electrical grid here, so when it goes out, it's out until they fix it.
Just to wrap the internet thing up, is it the same in every single city? No, the general rule is we found that the bigger the city, the faster the internet and the more reliable it's going to be, but we're at the mercy of the Airbnbs that we're staying at normally, so whatever the host gets, that's what we get, and sometimes we're sharing it with a bunch of other units too, so it really all depends. Even here in Puerto Morelos, it varies greatly, but there is good internet. There is fast internet. It just depends on what people buy. It depends on the area.
There's not like super high-speed fiber or anything like that, but you can get like 20 or 30 download and 5 or 10 upload in some places.
So Mike said he will play along with our shenanigans and wants to know if we had to rebrand, if we had to rename today, what would we name it, or would we do that?
I love this question.
I liked it too. So we started, before we became Tangerine Travels, we brainstormed a whole list, which I wish I knew where that was or kept it. It's probably scanned somewhere.
That'd be so awesome to look back at.
The only one that I remember that we didn't go with was the 3 Husketeers. Yeah. I'm very glad we didn't go with that one. But would I change Tangerine Travels? No, I love that. I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah, I wouldn't change it either. The only thing I don't like about it is it has this connotation that we'll always be traveling, and that's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. I do imagine at this point, because we've kind of caught the travel bug, I don't think we can stay anywhere for too long. But it does sort of like box us into having to keep traveling.
We say that right after we're signing a 1-year lease.
Well, I mean, but it's going to be our home base. We're going to travel. Yeah. The only other thing that I don't really like is that people assume it means tangerine, like the fruit. And as you can see, we're Tangerine Travels because of our car, the color of the car, the car that takes us around everywhere, but it happens. Whew. It's toasty.
If you're coming to Puerto Morelos, go check out Lola y Moya for breakfast. We love eating there, and their coffee selection is amazing. They have so many great coffee drinks.
Not only that, we just found out that they totally revamped the menu, so there's a bunch of new stuff, like the enchiladas that I tried. That green sauce was incredible. So yeah, definitely check it out if you're in town. So we just left our car at an auto lavado, which is another great place that we visit about once a month since we have a husky that sheds everywhere. And they clean the outside, the inside, the wheels, everything. Super great. This place that we just took it to is 80 pesos for that whole deal. And sometimes they charge extra for pet hair. So we'll see. And then generally they do an amazing job. It takes them like an hour to an hour and a half. But anyway, we're gonna get back to answering some more questions. This one, 3 different people asked about Airbnb. Vivian wants to know if we've had any problems with rentals in Mexico and how we've gone about solving these. Then we have Jamie Jamie and Michelle asking various questions about Airbnb, how we find them, how long in advance we have to look for them, where do we look, Airbnb prices versus local rentals. On the Airbnb side, we like that there's reviews and we can look through those very carefully, very thoroughly, and try to find ourselves a really good rental. We made a whole video about how to avoid Airbnb nightmares because yes, we have had some Airbnb nightmares. As much as we look through the reviews and try to vet each place, sometimes we show up and it's different, uncomfortable bed, no hot water, internet sucks, various issues. So there's no getting around that, and I think that can be the case even if you're looking at an apartment or something locally. Next part of these was how far in advance do we look for an Airbnb? We are sort of different than the average traveler because a lot of times we're in a place looking for the next place that we're gonna go, so we don't really have a set time that we're looking. I do think the earlier the better. When holidays are involved, like Semana Santa in Mexico for instance, look as far in advance as you can and that'll probably save you money. Sometimes you'll get lucky where the host lowers the price because it's close to the time that you're gonna book and they just wanna rent those nights. We've had a few like that, but I wouldn't count on it. But yeah, check out that video that we've already made. We'll put it right here on Airbnb, how to avoid those bad rentals, money-saving tips, and things like that. And if you haven't signed up for Airbnb yet, hit your sunglasses first and use our link that we're gonna put in the description so you can get $40 off or the equivalent in your currency.
So what about rental nightmares, rental problems outside of Airbnb? Pretty recently, well, a few months ago now, we made a video about rent prices and how we found a rental here in Puerto Morelos. Well, it turns out we did not like that rental. We had to light the hot water tank every time we wanted to shower.
The bed was incredibly uncomfortable. I never got used to it. I never slept through the night. I tossed and turned. My health started taking huge hits from something we didn't know what was going on. My skin was having all these different reactions and breaking out everywhere. We think it was black mold because the houses that were around there are undeveloped. They're brick buildings that maybe they ran out of money and couldn't finish.
We were getting weird stuff on the walls inside of our place too, but how do we fix it? Well, we didn't really. We just kind of mitigated the damage by not signing a long-term lease. So we paid 3 months in advance and we were going to have that as a home base and then travel a little bit.
And the point was have a really inexpensive place, like $350 a month, and that way we have the extra money to like travel to other places and come back and it wouldn't be such a huge ordeal loading the car up, unloading it every week or so that we were traveling to a new place.
Yeah, so once we figured out that hey, we think this is mold that's affecting our health, I started looking on Airbnb to see where we could go because there were some places around that we wanted to go to, and that day we booked an Airbnb in Valladolid starting the next day.
And then just continued booking rentals after that. So how did we solve it? We didn't really, we just ran away from it and then waited for like lease paid term to end. We ultimately ended up booking another place here in Puerto Morelos after we got back from all of these travels that we've been having to Valladolid, Tulum, Bacalar, Mahahual, and that was our rental disaster number 2. This host has been incredibly dishonest, changing around prices on us, changing her cancellation policy when we wanted to edit our dates, which was within her original policy. She increased the nightly price, lowered the monthly discount.
Lots of dishonest stuff going on with that. Thankfully, it is a nice place with a comfortable bed. Just the host is kind of a disaster.
So it's almost laughable, the situation that happened at this current Airbnb rental that we have, because on the same day that we had to rush Jordan to the ER, video on that coming, we were trying to get our Airbnb reservation changed from a month and a half, like almost 2 months, to just a month so we could move into our new long-term rental. Well, we had to contact Airbnb since the host did all this funny business with changing the nightly price and the monthly discount and her cancellation policy, and instead of helping us to edit it, they canceled the reservation. So right out of the hospital, we're in this like panic situation where we're basically out on the street with nowhere to go. The host is confused, she's angry at us, and all this stuff. It took days to figure this out. Days to figure out what we were gonna do. Back and forth with Airbnb, getting passed from one representative to the next. Airbnb support is the pits. They are so disorganized. Yes, they do ultimately make things right for you, but in the meantime, it's a gigantic headache, especially if you're in and out of the hospital for serious health issues like Jordan was. So we just had to be very, very persistent with Airbnb until it got resolved.
So that car wash, they did a really good job. It's called La Cobrita Centro de Auto Lavado.
Yeah, we tried one other one in town and we didn't really like it because they didn't clean the windows on the inside and it took forever. We ended up leaving a 40 peso tip because, like I said, there's tons of Alaska fur. Well, there was tons of Alaska fur. Now, nothing.
Yeah, and plus there were 4 people working there and we were their only customer, so like just paying 80 pesos for that hour that they were working on it, it's like they're earning $1 each. So I don't know, that doesn't make me feel good, so.
Well, I mean, and I think honestly that's probably average price for Mexico, but they're undervaluing, do you think, the service for what all they're doing? Last question we're going to answer comes from Charlie, who wanted to know what was our life like before coming to Mexico, like work and things like that. And if you hadn't seen our Tulum video, we're going back to Arizona in a few weeks. I'm so excited. That's where I'm from, so that's where all my family is. We haven't had any interactions, personal, like seeing our family in over a year, so.
Yeah, you've been really missing your family.
I have. We have some fun video ideas for when we go back there though, including showing what we used to do from day to day, maybe some stuff with family, finding some Mexico influence in Phoenix because there is a lot of that, maybe trying out some, you know, testing out our Spanish with some people in Phoenix too.
Yeah,
we'll
heck yeah. And I've kind of always avoided those parts of Phoenix, so that'll be interesting going back there after seeing a lot of Mexico and learning some of the language.
Yeah, I feel like they seemed pretty foreign. I mean, even though my family on my mom's side is all Mexican, it was kind of like, yeah, like just a totally different culture. But now that's the culture we're living in, and I love that culture. So we're gonna be seeking it out in Phoenix. Thank you guys for watching this video. If we didn't answer your questions, leave us some in the comments. We'll try to answer them in upcoming videos. Give it the old thumbs up if you liked it, and maybe share this video with a friend if you think they would enjoy some of the stuff we were talking about.
Alaska, get back down here. You need to make a cameo. 1 second. Alaska, you have a bell to gog.
You have a bell to gong. Too many people love you, Alaska. You're not going anywhere. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see the upcoming videos that we have. We're going to be telling you about our emergency room visit and hospital adventures with Jordan, going back to Phoenix, global travel, and one last thing. Gong that bell so you get notified the next time we put out our videos. And we will see you there. Says Alaska.